This tutorial will detail features and functionality involved with posting payments against invoices. The learning objectives for this tutorial are primarily to understand, apply, and edit a payment. Redpine Services allows the user to post payments through almost every tab and screen in the application. One way is through the Billing tab of the patient information screen. Another is during check-in or check-out processes, as well as after creating a claim and/or invoice for a date of service, and selecting the Create Invoice button. The invoice for that claim and/or cash invoice is automatically generated and displayed. Let's go to the patient information screen to look at applying payments, as the screens, processes, and buttons are the same, no matter where you access it from. You can only apply payments to invoices one at a time from the invoice screen. To post payments across the entire account, you will go into the Payments screen. To post a payment through this screen, the Invoice screen, click on the plus sign next to the invoices. Open up the invoice you want to display, and then click on the Apply Payment button for that specific invoice. First, select a payment method. Use a drop-down to select your payment method. Cash, record the payment amount. Check, record the check number and amount. Credit or debit card, record the merchant transaction number and the payment amount. Or record an amount and reason for if you wish to write off or adjust for this invoice. For example, if this patient was a friend of the doc's, simply give the reason for the write-off as doc's friend. You can also note a miscellaneous credit. For a miscellaneous debit, you can choose the distribution method and give a reason. Typically, you will not need to use the next three drop-downs, but we have them available in the rare event that they are needed. The office automatically defaults to the office your system is currently set to. The Payment Originator drop-down will always default to Self. This means that the patient themselves made the payment. If the patient has a spouse entered into the system, you can select them as well. Note, when reconciling EOBs, payments made on this patient's account by their insurance company, the originator will automatically be the appropriate insurance payer. Thus, you will not need to manually select it. The Transaction Code drop-down is customized in the Admin tab, which will be covered in the setup tutorials later on. The vast majority of practices will not use this feature, but for those that require this customized code functionality for accounting purposes, it will meet their requirements. You may edit the payment date if you wish. Note, the entered payment date must be on or before the current date. Enter the payment amount. No need for dollar signs. If you are entering in a dollar amount with no cents, you need not enter in the decimal point. Once you have recorded the payment method and amount for this particular invoice, select the Process Payment button, and the money's write-off or adjustment will be applied to this specific invoice. Or Cancel to back out. You apply payments to the patient's account as a whole through the Payments link. Notice the amount due for all existing invoices is displayed here. The simplest way to apply a payment across an entire patient account is enter the payment method and enter the payment amount, and then click Post Automatically. This will post the amount to the oldest invoice first. You may also post the payment manually. This will allow you to choose which invoices to apply monies to directly. Notice the payment amount from above is listed here, and will note the remaining balance as you apply funds to the invoices directly below. To apply the maximum amount to a specific invoice, click the Apply box, or manually type in the amount you wish to apply to the specific invoice. The Total Applied box lets you know how much you have already applied to the selected invoices, and the Remaining Balance box shows you how much is left to still be applied. If the payment amount exceeds the amount due, apply the remaining balance on account, which can be used to satisfy future invoices. Finally, select Apply Payment. The three areas in the lower half of the screen are Invoices, Payment History, view all payments or transfers made to the account or to reverse payments, and On-Account Payments. In the Payment History, you can filter the payment types that you wish to view. You can edit the payment dates here, view the payment method. Depending on the payment method, see the check number or transition number here, or see the reason for the write-off, adjustment, or credit. This number references the invoices that the payment was applied to, and, of course, the amount of the individual payment. To reverse payments en masse over the entire account, click here and find the payment or payments that you wish to reverse. It is important to note that payment reversals do not void the payment. they simply put the funds reversed back on account, so they can be applied to a different invoice later. You can select a reason or just leave it blank. You can also post a free-form comment next to each reversal as well. This gives you the freedom to make any note you wish. To process the reversals, simply click here. Note, any reversals that are done throughout the workday will be identified on the Daily Payments Report from the Business tab. The comment will also appear for easy balancing at the end of each workday. Voiding payments works much like reversing payments, the difference being that voiding does not place the funds on account. They are simply deleted from the account, as if it didn't occur. However, a record of the voided transaction is certainly recorded. The on-account area shows only the on-account payments. It is important to keep regular posted payments and on-account payments separate for easier tracking. To put money on account as part of a prepayment program or other purposes, you simply enter the payment information as usual, but instead of posting automatically or manually, select Post on Account. To apply the on-account funds, either for a specific invoice or across the account as a whole, select the From Account Payment method. You can also satisfy all outstanding invoices with a single click by selecting this button, here, or during the Add a Patient creation process, which will draw from any on-account funds without having to manually apply payments. Back in the payment screen, under On Account, you will notice that all the copays that you collected during the check-in and check-out processes show up here. As explained in previous tutorials, copays are not technically applied to an invoice for a particular date of service until the explanation of benefits for that particular claim is received and reconciled, at which point the copay will then be automatically applied to the invoice for that date of service.